We're live. We're live. We're live. We're coming at you live like never before. Good morning. La 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 la. Welcome everybody to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Marcus in the morning. Today is March 15th in the year 2023. Do you know where your money is? Do you know where your children are? But do you know where your money is? We're going to find out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good morning, everybody. Mark Sconti reporting philosophical educational exploration today. Because we no longer report and we no longer hypothesize on politics and or other intellectual pursuits because they have become banned and or censored. So we're doing philosophy now. Good morning, everybody, to the philosophical educational stream where there is no controversy. There's only questions. And the big question today is raised by Carl Icahn. Carl Icahn, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. A net worth individual, estimated 17 to $24 billion hedge fund guy. And he was doing some speculating. Sometimes you have to listen for the cracks in a rich guy's theory. Or you listen to the rich guy's theory and you find truth in it. All right? That's what it goes both ways. So you can blame billionaires for their greed and their insensitivity to people that don't have $17 billion in the bank. But you also have the ability to listen to the way they see those people, right? And so we're going to look at Carl Icahn to get a perspective on what is happening in stock markets. Now, historically, it is inescapable that from the year 1929-ish, early 1920s or late teens, 19 teens, the creation of the stock market, let's say New York Stock Exchange, for example, has gone exponentially up since that period of time. Now, that is inescapable. The stock market, New York Stock Exchange, the average was 50 when it evolved. It evolved out of 0, and then it was 50. And now it's close to 50,000. So we've had an exponential growth of stock markets. Now, anything that grows is subject to death. At some point, it will die. Or will it? Or will it? Is it possible that the stock markets, the net worth of humanity, decreases overall? I'm not saying your net worth or my net worth or Carl Icahn's net worth. I'm saying overall, the distribution continues to shuffle back and forth, mostly to the people who have the most money. But the point is, overall, are the markets continuing to go up, or have they died, as people historically for 100 years have said, this is the end, it's all dead. So without giving you my opinion of that, I gave you the facts that there is 100% evidence that markets continue to go up in the same direction, traveling in the same direction, up, expansion. There's no evidence of it dying. Where can you point to the death of the stock market? Why is it dead? It's not dead. You see how parts of it die, like these regional banks are dying, but they get eaten by larger banks, and the system itself continues to expand. So the argument that markets will crash, oh, we're in a bear market, is factually incorrect, because following every single downturn since the creation of the market, it has always not only rebounded but surpassed its previous level exponentially. So that's the evidence. Now, it takes time for that to happen, right? And 100 years exponential. So we're going to look at that fascinating subject. Last night, if you were on the stream, the Dharma stream, we were blowing giant gaping holes in the medical profession's diagnoses of mental disorder and or mental fatigue, what they call, what medicine calls depression. And it seems that depression itself is created some way, but the way humans treat it appears to be inaccurate. It appears that, so we found out yesterday that the medical profession is actually on the wrong, is traveling in the wrong direction in terms of helping people, right? That said, is the market also heading in the wrong direction? Or is the only direction it could head is upward? Right? That's the kind of things that I want to explore today. Also, and I've had a change of heart, if you've noticed. I've kind of dabbling with this new technology, Chat GBT. Has been a fascinating exploration for this reporter. And now there's a new technology that we're going to look at that goes even further. It's called GPT-4, also produced by OpenAI. And that software not only takes words, but it could analyze photographs, videos, I believe it even can surf the web if you give it a specific link. So the intelligence of these programs is advancing rapidly, right? And that is inescapable. That expansion in terms of the tools used on the web, I believe is inescapable. And therefore, there has to be profit. Somebody is going to profit from it. Now you say, well, it's these new upstarts, but not really. It's people like the usual culprits. Google already has the infrastructure. All they need to do is advance the technology, and people will use it. Google is as good as Chat GBT. Right? It's the same. So Google knows that. So Google will expand. Microsoft will expand. Any other technological company, and we'll look at some of them. I don't have them on the top of my head, but when we get to the article, we'll look at those as well. So we're exploring, and Mr. Icahn has told us that he's identifying the problem in America. One of the problems, which is most people have zero net worth and are not doing the traditional historical savage do anything to get money thing anymore. They're sitting on their hands like the billionaires. And they're saying, well, what am I going to, burn myself out and work myself with these rich cocksuckers? They're not working. They're using their money. They're using their money to make money. I want to do that too. All right. So what is causing the market problem now? And how do we swerve around it? How does humanity swerve around it? Right? It's not a matter of can humanity swerve around the current economic problems? It's how it does it and when. Right? Because it always does. Right? That's just the reality of it. I know people think of when you talk about stock markets, you think of crony capitalism and you think of greed and you think of a select group of people controlling others. Well, that is true, but it doesn't negate the fact that it is a real organism, a real creation. Stock markets are real. This is how humans have decided to represent and or house their wealth. All right, so these are things that you have to look at philosophically and educationally, of course. Nobody is predicting anything here. We're just talking philosophically and educationally, of course. So this is your wallet. It looks like your wallet, my wallet. Most wallets today are empty. Have you heard? All right, that's what Mr. Icon is going to tell us. All right, so we're going to look at that story as well. My name is Marcus Conte, and I have a website. It is a educational philosophical live stream that airs every day, Monday at 9 a.m., Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. We're here. Last night, if you missed it, we were Tuesday, 7 p.m., live Dharma gathering. Dharma meaning studying the nature of reality. Not religious, but philosophical. And great way to fund this program is through Zelle. We're looking for a billionaire, a single billionaire to come along and billion us up so that we could help you, right? We can help. This stream believes in your wealth. I do. I believe in your wealth. I just think that sometimes wealth is used nefariously or focused on greed, self-greed, as opposed to the whole. So we want to help you, billionaire, by you joining us. Things will get better, I guess. So anyway, welcome everybody in the chat. Good morning. Colossal Bigfoot in the house. Jonty Takre, how are you? How are you? Weevil Girl on the wrench. Put your hands together for Weevil Girl on the wrench. Don't be a dick in the chat and you won't get chopped. You won't get chopped out. Jim Gerard, what's up, Jim? How are you, Jim? How are you, Jim? Chris Milk, my brother, Thomas Robinson. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Zoot Cooter. And if I missed your name, don't take it personal, man. I'm trying to do a program here. So let's start here. Fascinating, right? Fascinating world we live in. Did you know that the Pentagon officials have suggested alien mothership in our solar system that could send mini probes to Earth? Have you heard? I just heard today. But listen to this. I'm not making it up. It's not speculation. This is your Pentagon, your $1 trillion a year doing the investigation. Pentagon officials said in a draft last week that aliens could be visiting our solar system and releasing smaller probes like missions conducted by NASA when studying other planets. Wow, a mothership. Now, this is what they're pointing to. It's always a blurry image of some, looks like a black dot, right? It's fucking black dot. This is what they're pointing to. And what is it? So a draft research report authored by Sean Kirkpatrick, director of the Pentagon's whatever, was released. This report was released, and they said, quote, an artificial interstellar object could potentially be a parent craft that releases many small probes during its close passage to Earth. An operational construction not too similar from NASA's missions. The dandelion seeds could be, not are, but could be separated from the parent craft by the tidal gravity force of the sun. All right. Now, how the hell have they determined that this is a mothership when all they got is a black dot? How did the black dot, how did they confirm that the black dot is a mother ship? So they have an answer for it. Here it is. The object was cigar-shaped, appeared flat, and was propelled away from the sun without showing a cometary trail, leading science to believe it was artificial. So, science, not philosophy, but scientists have said because the trail that is supposed to be there is not there, therefore it is a manufactured artificial thing probing us. What other evidence is there? So no cometary trail. All right, I guess we'll believe it. 3 years later, another object was discovered, the report noted, namely NASA's Rocket Booster 2020, which had no comet trail. What the fuck are you talking about? Cometary trail. Let's ask Chat GBT what is cometary trail? Cometary trail. Hey, we go to cometary trail. Cometary trail, also known as a comet tail, is a visible trail of gas and dust particles that is left behind by a comet as it travels through space. The trail is created when the comet's ice and dust are heated by the sun, causing them to vaporize. The shape and length of the tail can be determined on the composite. What the fuck are you talking about, right? So, no tail. It had no tail. So the research paper comes after a month of scrutiny over unidentified flying objects over the United States, namely the shooting down of a Chinese balloon. The Chinese balloon has now created speculation in the Pentagon that we are being seeded by a mother ship. Right here, the black dot is a mother ship seeding our planet and exploring it. Now, how many people? Let's do a survey. We have real people, not machines. One is true story. Sounds true. Or two, ridiculous. So what is it? Does anybody think that there's a mother ship in our solar system sending down mini probes to explore us? Give me a 1. Or based on the evidence, based on the black dot, right? And no comet trail. Or 2, this is a ridiculous, hypothetical nothing burger. Maybe even a fearmonger. I got to say it's ridiculous. To me, it seems ridiculous. Number 2. I'm going to go with 2. I'll give you guys a chance to, because I'm in your future. I'll give you a chance to answer. And the 2s are coming in. Colossal Bigfoot is a 2. Ridiculous. Thomas Robinson is 2-1. Jim Gerard is a 2. Weevil Girl. In Encounters of the Fifth Kind, they say that the government wants us to fear aliens, but they are peaceful. Wow. Mikkel Sly, friend of the program, says 1. Sounds true to me. So Selma Karaka, also a 1. All right, so we're mixed. Mixed. 2. Wayne says 2. Thomas Robinson says maggot brain. Hey, be nice, man. Be nice. Weevil Girl, no idea. Wow. All right, so we have a mix there. I don't know. I don't see a mother ship. And where's the seed? Where's the little probe? Well, we don't have any probe to say, hey, what is this fucking thing? You know? So let's look at this guy. Right? So Carl Icahn, a Ashkenazi Jew from Brooklyn, net worth anywhere from 17 billion to 24 billion, is going to speculate on the markets for us. Right? He's going to tell us what's happening right now. Not a matter of what I had said earlier, that markets historically expand, or at least the ones we've created about 100 years ago. New York Stock Exchange, and then later the NASDAQ, the S&P average, the average of American and or multi-international companies, right, are expanding. Right? As humanity expands, populations grow, these organizations are expanding. But what about right now? What about right now? Because that shit is painful, man. Right? And what is the consequence of this expansion? Is it people's wallets are going to continue to be empty? Right? Because that's what Carl Icahn is pointing to. He said, I didn't say, but Carl Icahn, as you're going to hear, says in the video or the phone call that most Americans have zero net worth. Zero. Meaning that most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck without any idea how they're going to get out of this, right? And he also speculates that most Americans don't want to work, he says. Quote, work, whatever work means. Right? They don't want to exert themselves in the same way they used to, which has led to what? Discontent, disease, lack of, love of life. It leads to depression. So people are addressing their mood, right? And instead of being depressed and doing things they don't want to do, they're now contemplating about what their next move might be, for example. And that has created a situation where they're living either no net worth or they have no idea what comes next. All right? So, Thomas Robinson, I'm worthless. I think we all are. I think to some degree. But so let's look at this. Let's look at this fine character. This is Carl. Let's look at this. This is 4 months ago. All right, let's start there. Let me just reverse these two videos. Let's go. Carl Icahn 4 months ago on CNBC. Now, of course, it's fake news and whatever, but the guy on your right is a very, very real person, a very revered Wall Street figure. So let's listen to him on where the market is going. And he said this 4 months ago. So let's see if he was right.
Incredible rally that we saw today on that better than expected inflation report.
Well, I've been bearish for a year and a half or 2 years.
Why? Why, Carl?
We keep our portfolio hedged, so it doesn't mean a lot from the net worth of our portfolio, or IP too much. But I am still very, or quite bearish on what is going to happen.
So Carl Icahn 4 months ago saying bearish on what's about to happen, right? And you could see at that time when he was talking about it, Dow was 33.7, S&P 39, and NASDAQ 11,001. So it was lower than it is now.
A rally like this is, of course, very dramatic, to say the least, very dramatic. But you have them all the time in a bear market, and I still think we're in a bear market. You have these rallies because it's almost like a commodity. There's only a certain percentage that actually trade it or make that final move in it. So if you take the population of stockholders...
He's telling you that the rallies are a result of trading activity. It's not pouring in of investment. It's short covering. It's capitalizing on momentary movements in the market. It's not expansion, is what he's saying, which is very true when you see these rallies.
There's only a small percentage that trade like this or move it. And when the market goes down, you have a large short, a short.
Also, one other thing, when you listen to guys like this, remember the historical perspective I gave you is that historically, unequivocally, statistically, the markets have gone up since their creation. With moments of down, yes, bear markets. Overall, the market is technically a bull market. It is going up. It is expanding. So even if a Carl Icahn comes along and casts a cloud over the current situation, it doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that the market is dead, because it'll only go to zero if it dies, if it's obsolete. Are the stock markets, the way that humans navigate their wealth, obsolete? Is it going to crash to zero? Well, people have been saying that since the beginning. Every time you look up, someone's saying, "Oh, it's going to crash. It's going to go to zero." Well, Carl Icahn is he's speculating about the current mood. So listen to him in terms of that. He's casting a black shadow now, but is he casting a black shadow overall? No, he's not.
Interest builds up. And then when you have any news, it suddenly propels this. So I do think it's certainly dramatic and maybe exciting, but I don't really think it changes my opinion on the basic problems that we have.
Why are you so negative on the market?
Well, whenever you have higher interests that have moved as they have here, and they really have moved
higher interest rates. Okay, we all agree on that.
Quite a bit, and you have an inverted yield curve.
Okay.
You're getting really treasuries at a 5% yield, close to a 5% yield. Mm-hmm. For relatively short-term treasuries.
All he's right. All indications of a downward trend. All indications of depression. The opposite of expansion, momentarily.
You are going to have a recession, and I think you do have a recession already. I mean, if you looked at the earnings of a lot of these companies, they're pretty bad. And I think a lot of these companies are cheap, by the way. And I think a lot of money will be made if you own certain of these, I like to say the Graham and Dodd type companies, not so much the high-tech companies. If you own them, they're dirt cheap, and eventually you'll make money.
And there's the evidence, right? He's speculating that they're dirt cheap and that eventually you will make money. So what's he telling you? Is the market dead? Is it over? No. He's telling you the perspective of the long-term investor is that where is your evidence that these companies ever fail? Buy them now because they're cheap. That's what he's saying.
But I think there's a way to go down because...
But there's still a way to go down. He's still, there's more to go down. All right, so, okay.
I don't think inflation is going away to begin with, not for the near term. And I think you're going to have more of a recession, more of an earning decrease. Okay. That's basically why. I think...
He's right, and he's honest, it seems.
To begin with, I do think you're going to have more wage inflation. A lot of people don't want to work. I mean, it just comes to it.
Wow.
People now.
A lot of people don't want to work. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Carl? What kind of work? You mean McDonald's and Burger King? Do you call what you do work? If you ask Carl Icahn, he probably tells you, I never worked a day in my life. I love what I do. Right? How do we define work? Doing something you don't want to do as a means of survival. And, because society trains people to work instead of something else, right? Or work for someone else as opposed to working for yourself. Let's continue.
the youth. I mean, you just saw this election where a lot of Democrats won where you didn't think they were going to win, and
Politics.
I didn't think that a lot of them would win. But what you do have is a lot of, call it the youth, they say in quotes, the youth, vote. And when you think about it, if you don't have to work,
Uh-huh.
and you've been geared to that,
Yeah.
you're going to have wage inflation because,
Right.
by definition, people get older, they retire, and you have to fill that in.
Right. So there's a change in the psychology of what is work. Young people got the message that they're being screwed. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. I know people don't want to acknowledge anything positive or any positive messaging that socialist Bernie Sanders pointed out in 2016 to millions of young people, is that the system is rigged against you and that the income and wealth inequality is expanding, continuing to expand in that direction. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. And the youthful observation is to stop participating. Right? If we continue to participate in this system, we are part of the problem, not the solution. Right? That's what Bernie Sanders was trying to tell his people. It's the nature of the work. It's not like we don't want to work. We don't want to be fucking slaves. Right? Didn't we learn anything about what slavery is? You know, Black America will say, well, we were slaves 400 years ago. But upon further investigation, you realize that they were a workforce that was paid, whether it was the only thing that they were possibly, the only thing that was available to them or not, doesn't matter. It's that they were part of the workforce. The same could be said about the pyramids. How did the pyramids get there? 7,000 years, 6,000 years ago, who built them? Right? They speculate, it took 100,000 to 200,000 humans to build the pyramids, right? And those were not slaves. They did it, the people that they speculate, nobody knows for sure, but they did it for food and pay. They were paid to do it, paid to build the pyramids. Hundreds of thousands of people were paid to build the pyramids. Right? So this notion of modern day slavery, as African American folks would like everyone to recognize in American society, right? Which is probably true. It did happen. But is it different than what's happening right now? It doesn't appear so. And what's the evidence? Your wallet is fucking empty. Right? You have no net worth. People, my grandparents had net worth. They had money in the bank, and one person in the house worked, and everything was fine. So there's the issue of income and wealth inequality, but there's also the issue of the issue of the quality of work that people are being presented with. They don't want to be slaves. They perceive themselves as being slaves, so they stop working until the situation changes. It's better to be poor than to be it's better to be poor and happy, or at least a little content, than be overworked and miserable, right? Because that's no way to live. Now, Carl Icahn, in his very comfortable $17 billion seat, doesn't really know what that feels like, but he's smart enough to see it, and he's talking about it.
So you have that situation here. So you got wage inflation. You certainly have housing now going down.
Uh-huh.
You have the net worth of the median household in this country. The net worth of the median household is maybe $100,000.
It's actually much less than that. It's not $100,000, but and he's going to say it in another ad, but continue in another interview.
And even that is in question even the households that do have a net worth of more than that, their housing is going down and the market has gone down for it. So you have all that put together. You have higher debted companies too, because you take a lot of these companies have borrowed money over the years and bought back stock, and they still do it. They still do it. I think that's dangerous because now they're encumbered with the debt they have to pay on the money they borrowed to buy back stock. So
Correct. And that is Carl Icahn is identifying 4 months ago the problem with the regional banks, that they're over debt. They're not getting a return on what they lent out. And the people that they lent it to are defaulting. All right. So you got a problem there, right? Which indicates a bear market. But does it indicate death of the market or a transfer of wealth? Again, a bigger transfer of wealth to the top, or maybe a redistribution of the wealth to the people that are blowing the whistle, the young people saying, we're not going to do this anymore until something changes. I don't know.
I just think there's a lot of things that have to happen to turn this economy around, to get us out of the recession.
Let's go. Lockdown's over.
All right, so that's Carl Icahn. Let's listen to another one. Now he's on the phone. This was 15 hours ago. Carl Icahn on the phone with the same CNBC. Let's listen.
Latest activist target in biotech firm Illumina taking issue with that company's acquisition of Grail, which specializes in cancer testing. The deal being contested right now by European regulators. Mr. Icahn nominating 3 people to that company's board and gearing up for a fight. He joins us now to discuss that issue and, of course, the state of the markets, the economy, the Fed. Carl, welcome back. It's nice to talk to you today.
Yeah, good to talk to you, Scott.
You know, we're going to get to the Illumina thing in a minute, but just given where we've been over the past few days, I want to get to the markets first. And I want your take on what you think has transpired here over the past few days from a market standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think it's the last few days necessarily. I think we have some major problems in our economy. Maybe they'll be fixed, but...
So he's right. When he was saying it then, the Dow was 33,000, and now it's 31.8. The S&P was 39, now it's 38, and the NASDAQ was about the same. So he's right so far. 4 months ago, he said it was going to go down, and it is going down. So you got to give the guy credit.
I mean, you just look at many factors. We've, been on a spending spree, and, the rising tide, tide lifts all ships. But a lot of people in our economy are not doing well, obviously.
Right.
The net worth of the median household is nothing, basically.
The net worth of the median household is nothing, basically. That's what he just said. Listen to him say it again. Again, a smart guy, smart Wall Street guy, smarter than most.
A lot of people in our economy are not doing well, obviously. The net worth of the median household is nothing, basically.
It's amazing. The net worth of the median household is nothing. He speculated $100,000 4 months ago. Now he's saying it's nothing. Nothing. You're worth nothing.
And you just look at what is going on. I think Powell really has to raise interest rates sooner or later. I can't talk about next week or even next month, but inflation is the worst thing an economy can have, and I think people underrate that. If you look in history, every hegemony has been destroyed by inflation, or almost everyone. I mean, just go back to Rome. That's what happens. And
so he's calling for the death. He's comparing it to Rome. Let's listen again.
Every hegemony has been destroyed by inflation, or almost everyone. I mean, just go back to Rome.
Okay.
That's what happens. And what about major problems?
So he's saying it's a major problem. There was Carl Icahn looking like he's saying it's death. This is it. It's over. That's what he's saying.
I think this economy right now is there's no leadership on the corporate level. Forget politically, and I'm not going to get into politics, but I think you do feel that in Washington, nobody knows what's really going on. But
Nobody really knows what's going on in Washington, says Carl Icahn, the billionaire. Ooh, that was honest. That was honest. So you get some honest reporting from billionaires. This guy's being honest. He probably knows I'm an Ashkenazi Jew. I'm almost 90. I'm not going to live forever. I got $17 billion. What are they going to do? Kill me for telling the truth? Carl Icahn spewing truth. Now, I disagree with him about the comparison to Rome, but everything else so far.
Forgetting that in our corporations, and I've lived with that. I mean, all my life basically, and companies today really have, with many exceptions, many exceptions, leadership is worse than mediocre. And that's why we are so successful. I mean, not because we're geniuses, but because you go into a company today, and that's what we've done.
All right, so he's saying that there's a bunch of, we're following the economy, and the people running these companies are a bunch of jackasses, but we're not. We're profiting from the jackasses that are, see how somebody always profits from the, even if it's bad, you always have the Carl Icahns of the world profiting from the disaster.
Worse than mediocre. And that's why we are so successful. I mean, not because we're geniuses, but because you go into a company today, and that's what we've done over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And it's really horrible what you find in many of them. Just
we're going to get to your we'll get to your latest one, as I mentioned in a minute. But I just want to drill down on this for a moment. So you think the Fed should keep going? You think the Fed should continue to raise interest rates despite what we just witnessed with the bank failures?
That is a good question. Carl, you want the interest rates to continue to go up? You're already breaking regional banks. Right? You're causing, let's see what he says.
Well, in a way, they go together. I mean, bank failure is a manifestation of the leadership in our companies and the way they spend money. And
bank failures are a reflection of the way the banks spend money. Poor leadership. So he's banking on their poor leadership, their greed. He's saying, hey, these banks are greedy. They don't know what they're doing. So eventually they're going to flop. Right? So you have a temporary bear market. Now, in the other video, he said that any investment in, the Dow tried and true, the brick and mortar companies is safe and a good investment. So transfer of wealth he's talking about. He's not talking about a crash in my view.
You really have a moral hazard if you just keep bailing them out. In this case, I'm not going to opine on trying to save some poor people, although the depositors in Silicon Valley weren't exactly poor people. But that's not the issue. The issue is you have to stop inflation. So you say, did we keep going on? I don't think you have a choice. If you don't keep going on, I really believe that the problem of inflation can become such that it's very difficult to get out of it. Hey, maybe there's something we could, that happens. Maybe there's a miracle, but you do have inflation. I mean, look, if you stop.
He's saying that the only way out of it is a miracle. Carl Icahn is saying a miracle. You need a miracle to get out of it. Now, this is common. This is common. When people are in short positions or bearish on the market, they want to be right about it. So he's still banging the down drum, right? Because maybe he has positions in it. But it doesn't change the fact that he's overall bullish. Because if he wasn't, he would be cashing in and pulling out. It would be over, right? If Carl Icahn believed that the markets were now dead, he would take his $17 billion and run. But he's not doing that. He's just hedging. He's hedged and he don't care.
If they don't raise rates next week or next month, I don't know. But I really don't think this is a choice, Scott. I think you can't have inflation in this country. You're paying the price. You know, if you've gone out on a binge.
See, here's where I disagree with him. You can't have inflation in this country. We've had inflation from the beginning. Inflation is a reflection of expansion. Things get more expensive, the numbers get a little high, and they keep getting higher. As long as wage increase, as long as you have the amount of money people make, then inflation is not really relative, in my view.
You spent the family wealth and you just keep spending. At the end, you pay the price for it. I mean, and that's what this country's done.
Okay.
I want your reaction to what Citadel's Ken Griffin told the FT about this very issue, in which he suggested that the government should not have bailed out all of the depositors. He said, quote, "The U.S. is supposed to be a capitalist economy, and that's breaking down before our eyes. There's been a loss of financial discipline with the government bailing out depositors in full." What do you make of that statement? He also goes after the
That's an incorrect statement. Anyway, there's been a loss of financial discipline with government bailing out depositors in full. No. It's guaranteed. That's the part of FDIC. So I disagree with this Citadel guy, Ken Griffin. FDIC guarantees deposits in full, meaning that your money in the bank is guaranteed by the FDIC up to $250,000. That has been in place for our entire lives and has never been breached, right? No one has ever lost money by putting money in the bank, in a U.S. bank, a U.S.-controlled bank. That has never happened. So this guy's argument is stupid. Let's see how Carl handles it.
Regulator, but what do you think about that?
I can't opine on what Griffin is saying there because I don't quite understand where it goes. Mm-hmm. But I am saying that he's right that our system is breaking down and that we absolutely have a major problem in our economy today. And I'm not going to opine.
Carl only points, well, he pointed to a lot of the problems in the past. People don't want, in the other video, people don't want to work. He's pointing to inflation. All right. People don't want to work. They don't want to be slaves anymore. And there's inflation. What else?
I don't know whether or not you bail out a bank or something like that.
The bailing out is irrelevant. It's just moment-to-moment market corrections, really.
But you can't have the country feeling that it doesn't matter if they save. It doesn't matter because they can spend all the money they want. You can do whatever you want because the government will bail you out. You can't. He's right about that. You can't have that.
Well, that's not what he said. He said you can't bail out the people who deposited money. That's not what he said. So Carl got that part wrong. But nonetheless, Carl Icahn, rather insightful. So having said that there is looks like a transition in markets. Money is moving away from greedy lenders who leverage other greedy borrowers who can't pay back and then default. There are people who refuse to be overworked and underpaid because they feel like they're being treated like slaves. Then they end up sick with COVID and other ailments from living at 8 hours of stress and horror in their lives because they're doing what they don't want to do, being forced to do it or believe they're forced to do it, right? People are waking up to that fact, right? Now, what does it say about the new economy? So, again, on this program, we've been playing around with ChatGPT, a kind of, in my view, a revolutionary search engine, almost like a technical friend, a bot who you could befriend and ask it questions about the official narrative. For example, last night we looked at medicine. Right? So these softwares are real. They turn one person into 5 people. they turn one, smart college kid or, I don't know, smart 3-year-old into a thing that is capable of crunching all of the world's information, right, by asking a simple question. All the information that we've stuck into this goddamn computer, even a 5-year-old has the ability to access it, right? And if that isn't revolutionary, what is the point of sending a kid to 12 years of college when they could sit and expand their knowledge without even leaving the house and enjoying it and having fun and asking them the types of questions that they want to know the answer to? Right? So I don't see how, search engines like Google and now ChatGPT and now GPT-4, I don't see how these OpenAI formats don't go forward. I don't see it. So listen to this. Let's talk about the money. Artificial intelligence stocks are rarer than you might think amid buzz over chatbot technology such as GPT-4. Many companies tout AI technology initiatives and machine learning, but there really are few public pure play AI stocks. Okay, so their argument is that the technology is clearly expanding, but there aren't pure players, meaning that there isn't a specific company that's going to boom because of it. It's going to be the usual suspects like Microsoft, right? It's the big ones that buy out the technology and advance it, right? So in general, look for AI stocks that use artificial intelligence technology to improve products or gain a strategic edge. Amid a surge in investor interest in artificial intelligence, be on guard against poor performing companies that tout themselves as plays on AI. I agree with that. Microsoft has increased its stake in upstart OpenAI. So that very software that we're toying around with on this program, ChatGPT, and hopefully I can get my hands on the other one, GPT-4, are plays for Microsoft. And its aim is to take on Google in the internet search arena. Do these newer searching devices, are they better than Google? Hell fucking yeah. As long as they're open to the entire web. Google's not open to the entire web anymore. Google is pay for play. You get searched in Google because of how much money you dump into Google to be in that search. Right? That's become advertising. Now, are these other softwares the same? Not yet. Will they become that way? Of course. It's run by Microsoft. But for now, we have these cutting edge technologies. So having said that, AI stocks in play would be Microsoft. Google is not going to sit back and let Microsoft take its market share. So you got to say Google is also a player. They point to China's Baidu, which is the Chinese equivalent of Google. They point to Salesforce rolled out Einstein GPT. So there's other companies creating these softwares. It's not just OpenAI. HubSpot, okay, NVIDIA, Arista Networks, also all of these, Sprout Social, Sprinkle, Iron Mountain, Seagate, Taiwan Semiconductor, Adobe, Shutterstock, Appier, Adobe. I said that twice. So there you go. So Wall Street is extremely bullish. Microsoft is throwing a huge stake into this open AI technology. So there's no doubt about it. If you're saying that there are parts of the economy that are faltering, right, this is the next seed of growth, right? Hard to see it when you're in it, but nobody saw the evolution of the industrial complex, the industrial complex of the late 1800s and early 1900s. It was a industrial revolution, right, where we were making things that made human life easier, like big machines and planes and such. Now we're making the technology. We're having a technology boom. It's very similar. So what is the overall direction? Forget about the bank that just failed. Fuck that. Is the overall human experiment measured by the stock market, is it expanding or is it detracting? Is it going down to death? Are we dead? Are we about to die? Because if the markets crash, that's it. It's over. A lot of things are over. You will have chaos on Earth. Or is it just another blip on the screen? I think it's the latter. So let's look at this new software that I have not played around with, but it's called GPT-4. Now we know what ChatGPT is, but let's look what the next generation of that is. Now, if that wasn't fascinating or isn't fascinating enough, listen to this.
GPT-4 takes what you prompt it with and just runs with it. From one perspective, it's a tool, a thing you can use to get useful tasks done in language. From another perspective, it's a system that can make dreams, thoughts, ideas flourish in text in front of you.
GPT-4 is incredibly advanced and sophisticated. It can take in and generate up to 25,000 words of text, around 8 times more than ChatGPT.
Look at that. So the new software takes in 8 times more information than the old one. They're already throwing the ChatGPT under the bus. We got GPT-4, motherfucker.
It understands images and can express logical ideas about them. For example, it can tell us that if the strings in this image were cut, the balloons would fly away.
This is the place where you just get turbocharged by these AIs. Mm-hmm. They're not perfect, they make mistakes, and so you really need to make sure that you know the work is being done to your level of expectation. But I think that it is fundamentally about amplifying what every person is able to do.
Amplifying.
GPT-4 training finished.
Amplifying what every person is capable of doing. Right? That's powerful. That's a powerful comment. Is that what it is? Or is it just putting people to sleep? They all sit in there, they sit home and they chat with their GPT. Right? Is it helping? Is it helping humanity expand? I think it is.
Last August, and everything that's been happening in the past few months up until we've released it has been a giant sprint to make it safer, more aligned, and also more useful. We have put in already a lot of internal guardrails.
So you think the kids are sleeping, man? They're inventing this shit, man. They're not sleeping. Bernie Sanders was right.
Around things like adversarial usage, unwanted content, and privacy concerns. And when we release a model, we know things are not done. We know we have to learn. We know we have to update. We know we have to keep improving all the systems around it to make it suitable for society.
To me, the most compelling use cases of these technologies will come from starting with a real human need. The obvious one where these systems have really incredible potential is in education.
GPT-4 can teach a huge range of subjects. Imagine giving a 5th grader a personal math tutor with unlimited time and patience.
Imagine that. Imagine that. Any kid can learn algebra by sitting and asking the computer. Maybe start with, what is algebra? Can you teach it to me? And the computer will do it. It'll take you from the beginning to the end at your own pace, in your own language, right? fascinating.
It's a great tool to bring learning to everyone in a way that is personalized to their skill level.
GPT-4 brings
This one analyzes photographs. It can analyze video. Fascinating.
the dream of having the most useful, helpful assistant to life. It's really about adding as much value to everyday life as possible.
The partnership that OpenAI has with Microsoft.
Weevil Girl points out the plagiarism issues and the issues of copyright with these softwares. I don't know. It might obsolete those things because it seems that what it's pumping out is original. Certainly with poems, certainly with reporting style content that it produces. I think it's yours. I think it's when you ask the question and get that answer is uniquely yours because there is no other person. It's you. You're asking and getting. There is no other person. It's a program. Follow? So you made it.
Microsoft is to shape this technology into something that's going to be useful for the world.
The power of AI, hopefully, is that it can help us be more productive, which ultimately leads to better quality of life.
The development of the transistor, of the computer, of the internet, the semiconductor industry, all the programming languages, everything came together to produce AI technology. And while it is very limited, it is already easy to imagine what the impact of a successor many generations down the line will look like.
We think that GPT-4 will be the world's first experience with a highly capable and advanced AI system. So we really care about this model being useful to everyone, not just...
These kids in this room, they don't even know how to fucking think anymore, man. Their critical thinking skills are zero. They are. They don't know how to write a poem. They say, computer, write me a poem, and the poem pops out. They never even tried. I don't know how to do math. I'm just going to ask the machine to show me fucking something. Give me the answer. I don't care about how you get there. Just give me the answer. All right. Are these are critical thinking illiterates, or is it the next stage? Is it the next level of mankind? We don't need to spend all our time remembering all these facts when we have this tool that does it for us. It's like a pseudo memory, you know what I mean? Right? Stop complaining and grow up, man. Suck up to the machine before it's too late.
Just the early adopters or people very close to technology. So it is really important to us that as many people as possible participate so that we can learn more about how it can be helpful to everyone.
All right, so that's what it is, man. That's fucking powerful, right? So it's already going, man. It's going forward. And so let's look at the markets. Markets are open. Ding, 208. Holy smokes! Are we open? Are we down? Are we up? And give it to me. Ooh, now all right. So we're still Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse has a problem. They're in the news right now. Another bank, and this is rather big. Credit Suisse stock plunges 21% after 21%. That means, fucking 21% of the money is gone overnight after top shareholder declines to raise stake. So this rich Arab guy was he Saudi lender. He's some big Saudi guy, and he said, "Nah, I'm not going to invest in Credit Suisse right now. We think that they don't have what it takes to make more money." So Credit Suisse, just by the announcement of a Saudi guy, chairman of the Saudi National Bank, said, no more. We're not giving him any more money. The stock plunged. So Credit Suisse is having that issue right now. And how is technology handling it? Apple's still hovering in the 150s, 151, down $1 today. Amazon at 94, at 60, down 62 cents. No crash today. How's Microsoft doing on the news that they're they're going for it, man. Microsoft might be the new Google. Never rule out Microsoft. Devious, defiant, persistent organization that has stood the test of time and has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And now they're making a move on Google with OpenAI. Up $2.67 today. Rivian up 7 cents, $13 a share. Again, the markets overall look like the rich are getting richer, right? The little banks are getting crushed, but the bigger banks are getting bigger. The little AI companies are getting crushed, but the bigger AI companies, Microsoft, Google, and maybe even Facebook, Apple's certainly going to get their hand in this. You think Apple is going to let that technology get by without using it in their iPhone? You don't think if ChatGPT is being used all over the place that Apple is not going to have the same product already installed in their phone for free? Of course they are. Of course they are. Google's going to do the same thing. Microsoft is going to offer it. Jim Steele says, Marcus, you forgot evil. Oh, let's talk about evil. What is evil? Let's ask, I don't know what evil is anymore. So let's ask ChatGPT. What is evil? What is evil? Evil is a complex and subjective concept that has been debated and defined in different ways throughout history. Generally, evil is considered to be an intentional and morally reprehensible behavior or actions that cause harm or suffering to others, whether it be physical, emotional, psychological. Okay, is Carl Icahn an evil man for profiteering on people's stupidity or profiteering on human behavior? No, it doesn't make him evil, right? It doesn't necessarily make him evil because he's enriching himself on, that's human nature. You want to change that? Well, how do you change it? How do you change that? I only know one way. I think it's a individual decision, if you will. So what else? However, what is considered to be evil can be subjective and may vary. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Casville Camden, take some money and buy more garden seeds and stuff. I agree with that, man. I agree with that, right? Grow your own, man. Be your own monster. So that's all I got. I blew over today. We're into an hour already. So thank you all for joining me. Mark Sconte reporting. See you guys tomorrow, man.